Guys, it's Rick. Welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to take pattern paper and mix them together to help everyone out on choosing your pattern paper for your cards. So I'm going to start off, I'm using the Lawn Fawn All My Heart Stamps and Dies, and my pattern paper is the Love Notes from Echo Park, and we're going to flip through the paper right there, and I'm going to pick out the 3 patterns that I want to use. And we will talk more about which patterns to pick. If you stick around to the end of the video, we'll talk more about that. But those are I'm picking out my 3 patterns right here. I've got my first 2 that I like, and then I'll pick out my 3rd one. That's going to be my focal image, and we will cut those out. I've matched my colors up with my Spectrum Noir markers by picking the ones out I thought would match, and then scribbling them off on a piece of the same paper, and picked out the ones that actually went with the pattern paper. Now I'm coming in, I have stamped the images from the All My Heart stamp set from Lawn Fawn, and I'm coloring those with my Spectrum Noir markers. I'm using the Coral Blend and the Coral Extend Blend. I started off with my darkest color, which was Coral 11, CR11, and I mixed in CR6, CR10, and I did the tip-to-tip method for that. And then we're going to color our little mouse, and I'm using the red-brown blend for that. All right, we're going to color our little mouse, and we are using the red-brown blend, and it's RB1, RB3, and RB4. RB4 is what I'm laying down right now. It's my darkest color. I'm going to come in and blend that out with RB3. And then I will blend that one out with RB1. Make sure you're going slightly over the area that you've previously colored to get a nice blend. So don't forget about that. And then here comes the RB1. That's my lightest color. It's a nice, pretty little brown mouse color. I just thought that would complement the colors in the pattern paper really well, because there's a lot of teals, pinks, reds. So the brown is a nice little complement to that. I'm going to color his little nose with the BR4. I'm going to add some little rosy cheeks with my Fair Skin blend. And I used, if I can find it, I used Fair Skin. There it is. I used a little FS3, FS4. And then I'm also used that on his little tummy and in his ears, and I'm using that on the hearts. And I'm also using the antique pink and the pale pink blend and pale pink extended blends on my hearts. I'm doing the pale pinks now. I'm keeping that coloring pretty simple, unless it was a little bigger heart. And then I added in more color. For my biggest heart up at the top, we're going to use that antique pink blend. But before we do that, we're going to do some more little pale pink hearts. Well, there's my antique blend right there. So that is AP1, AP3, and AP4 in Spectrum Noir. I'm going to put my coral. I'm adding another coral little heart over there, so we have that. And that is CR10, CR11, and CR6. As the lightest color. Here we're back to our antique pink, and I'm starting off with my darkest color, and then I'm going to blend that out with the medium shade, which again is AP3. The darkest was AP4, and then we're going to blend that out with AP1. Now I'm coming in with a black Jelly Roll pen, and to add some little darken up his little eyes, and I'm going to come in and add highlights with my white Uniball Signo pen. I'm going to add highlights to all the hearts. And so the little small hearts, I just added a little bit. I've got a piece of pink cardstock, and I'm going to stamp my sentiment. I'm going to prep that with my Rabbit Hole Design powder brush. And I'm going to line my sentiments up. And I'm going to stamp this down with Wow embossing ink. So I've decided to move that one down a little bit. So I'm going to make sure they're lined up. I'm going to pick those up, ink those up with the embossing ink, stamp it down. And Stamp it one more time to make sure we got a nice impression. And then I'm going to add my embossing powders to this. For the word heart, I'm going to use apple red embossing powder. And for the white, the other ones, I'm going to use my bright opaque white. And I'm going to heat set that. And then I will cut those out. And I've cut out my sentiments. All right, so for the pattern paper, you want to pick a focal image. And that could be something that has the patterns like this one with the little, they're all kind of even. It has the clouds in the background. It's a good little focal image, especially for the mouse that's in the hot air balloon. I thought it would be really cute. So I've got my focal image, which has a dominant pattern, and then I have a sub pattern. And I'm going to use that for the background of the card. And I've usually choose something like a stripe or a plaid. Something that has a nice, not too busy of a pattern is something that's real subtle. And then for the third piece, I'm using a tone-on-tone pink pattern that has hearts. And it's just super subtle little patterns down there. So you want to, when you're picking your pattern paper, you want a dominant or focal pattern, a pattern that is a supporting pattern like a stripe or plaid or something that has just a tone, very subtle image. And then you want that tone on tone to break it up. So those are the simplest ways to pick your pattern paper. Now we're going to finish our card. We're going to take and pop this up on some foam tape, and you will see at the very end how all these work cohesively together. So I'm going to peel those backings off. And I'm going to add some Barely Art liquid glue on that to make it easily to move around. So we're going to add that, and then I'm going to add that to the card, making sure it's lined up evenly on the tops and two sides. The top and sides have a little bit more room than the sides. I'm just lining that up on the left-hand side of the card, right up against that paper. I'm going to take my little mouse, and I'm going to add some thinner foam tape on him to pop him up. And I'm just, this is the 1 millimeter foam tape from scrapbook.com. And you can see how that pattern paper plays very nicely with the mouse on the little balloon with all the hot air balloons in the background. And it's so cute. So we're going to add our sentiment in it. We're going to get that nice and lined up. It says, the sentiment's going to be, "You make my heart smile." And I've cut that heart out, the word heart out with the coordinating die. I'm going to put that down. And then to add a little bit more interest on my smile, I cut a little fishtail banner on the left-hand side. Now I'm going to add my little hearts as a little accent. That's going to be my accent pieces. And I'm just going to attach those straight down. So I want this little medium heart right here by the word heart. And then I've got that bigger one at the bottom, and if you notice, it has a visual triangle by where I'm placing all these. That way your eye is drawn towards the sentiment and it's drawn towards your mouse. And now we're going to finish this off by adding some Stardust stickles to our hearts so that you really notice them, because that little pop of glitter makes it so easy to draw your attention to our focal image of the mouse on the hot air balloon. But as you can see, the overall look of the card with the pattern paper and all the colors that coordinate, it's super cohesive, and everything's just working together. When you work with a pattern paper that's in a pad like this one, or any kind of paper pad that you get together, most of the times all those patterns will work together. It's just a matter of knowing which patterns to put. So if you pick your focal image, which is something dramatic or something that has a repeating pattern like that, and then pair it with like a stripe or plaid or solid color, and then have that tone on tone, it just ties everything together. There's a look at the card. If you like this video, you're probably going to like this video right here coming up, and I will see you in the next video. Bye guys, love you. Stay crafty.